Okay, Coin Telegraph came out with an article talking about Bitcoin investment opens door to EU citizenship. This is something that's new that's come out, and basically it's a new fund that offers a way to gain citizenship in Portugal by investing over 500,000 into Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this at the end and tell you a little bit on how this works. Also, folks, if you can help us here on a big favor, we don't monetize this channel, so if you can give us a thumbs up, it would help us a lot in getting this out to more people, and we can do more research and educate you more on things like this. And again, I'm going to go over this stuff and then give you my thoughts and evaluations. So you might want to wait to the end to get our position on this. Now, it's a new fund that started. It's offering Bitcoin holders a way to become European Union citizens through Portugal's Golden Visa program. In an ex-post, Alexandro Palumbo, he announced the possibility of gaining Portuguese citizenship by investing in Bitcoin. Now, this is a fund, it's first of its kind to be eligible for the Portuguese Golden Visa program, providing exposure to the Bitcoin. Now, indirectly, you're holding over 500,000 Bitcoin could land EU citizenship. According to this guy, investors indirectly holding Bitcoin worth 500,000 euros, which is roughly around 542,000 US dollars, the fund will be eligible for the Portuguese Golden Residence Permit Program, the country's 5-year residency by investment program for non-EU nationals. Now, he was talking about the fund investing in companies with 100% passive Bitcoin holding, and is not trying to time the market for selling Bitcoin. In addition, the fund will also invest in BlackRock Exchange Traded Funds, which is the ETF for security and simplicity. And he mentioned he thought it was time to use Bitcoin as a tool for freedom of movement in a mutually beneficial way with Portugal, a country that they've chosen to live in with his own family. Now, the executive believes that for technical and strategic reasons, the European Citizenship by Investment Program is the best. He also claimed to have already onboarded customers and currently discussing with complementary teams. Now, Bitcoin reached its highest level in about 40 days. This was on July the 22nd. Bitcoin price rose to its highest in 40 days, peaking at 68,518 on some platforms. And analysts believe that the gains of almost 20% in 10 days could be attributed to the end of the German government's Bitcoin sell-off and investors' confidence in the United States Federal Reserve cutting interest rates in 2024. Now, because of the asset's bullish momentum, the Bitcoin futures premium, a way to gauge the sentiment of professional traders, reached its highest level in 5 weeks. Analysts believe that Bitcoin derivatives suggest the possibility of breaching the 72,000 US dollar milestone should Bitcoin continue its run. Now, however, on July the 24th, Bitcoin price quickly dropped to 65,550 before recovering. According to data tracker CoinGecko, the assets currently, at the time this article was written, was 66,404 US dollars. Let me just tell you some things that my feeling on this. The Portuguese passport, first of all, but let me just back up here. One thing is, if you're thinking about going in this program and you're doing it for purely the investment purposes in the passport, these are some things you need to think about. First of all, if you're going to be looking at Bitcoin, you're better off going directly in Bitcoin than going in this, because you're going to have all kinds of fees, okay? Another thing, too, is let me just tell you about this passport. I've done quite a few videos on this passport, and Portugal's got a good, visa-free travel. The problem is we're finding out that a lot of people are not getting this passport. If I had to take a guess, because you really can't get the figures, it's very difficult, but my guess would be 10 to 15% that start this residency program don't get the passport, okay? Some of the people don't actually finish it, and the ones that do finish it can't get the passport, usually for one or two reasons. They either don't pass the Portuguese test, or the government has, although they've put the days in, the government is just decided for some reason or not, they didn't infiltrate themselves enough in the system. Believe me, that has happened, okay? So if you're going to be going in this, I would tell you, don't do this a few days each year and then, apply get the passport. It's taking about 7 years to get it. And then you have to learn that Portuguese language if you don't already know it. But the thing is why not, if you're looking at getting something like this before you start going to all this trouble and expense, I would tell you to do this if you're not going to go and move there, okay? Because you're going to have to learn the language, and the only way you're going to do it pretty much is to move there. And if you don't move there, you're taking a chance on the government saying at the end of the time period, hey, you just didn't really infiltrate yourself enough in the system here. And then you've wasted all that time and money, okay? I know what the law says. It says you can apply, but it doesn't mean you're going to get the passport after that time period. Technically, it's 5 years of residency and then 1 year permanent residency. You apply for the passport. It comes in about 7 years if you can get it, okay? The problem with this, though, is, number one, is if you ever decide to move there, their tax laws are not good. I'm not going to get into their taxes again. I've done so many videos on that. But I'll tell you a good alternative. You don't even have to put in $500,000, okay? In fact, it's almost free. Why not just get a Irish passport, which is just as good or better? They allow dual citizenship. Their tax laws are so much better for a non-dom, not as a going in it being domiciled there. But as a non-dom, you're looking at, you literally can get your income taxes to zero if you know how to use the non-dom program on remittance basis, and you know how to do that. And it's not just that, but Ireland, Switzerland, and Cyprus have some of the best tax exchange agreements in the world. You've got a lot of money in places like the U.S. and other places, and I'm telling you, I'm assuming that you've relinquished your U.S. citizenship and you're not a U.S. resident anymore. The tax exchange agreements are really, really nice, okay? You're looking at having technically about half the withholding tax, whereas a lot of countries, believe it or not, that are pure tax havens, you would think the taxes are lower. Not on a lot of these tax exchange agreements, you can end up paying more on a pure tax saving basis than you would in a place like Ireland, depending on where your money's coming from. If a lot of it's coming from dividends, you could end up paying a lot more in taxes being in a pure tax haven than you would be in Ireland, because the tax exchange agreements are better. It just depends on where your money's coming from. But remember, in Ireland, you can have a company outside Ireland. If you make the money from that company, you don't remit it back into Ireland, and you are a non-dom, and you're not a U.S. citizen, a U.S. resident, okay? And if you're from a high-tax country like Canada or Australia or whatever that taxes income based on residency heavily, then you need to break your ties from those countries. And then you're basically on Ireland's system, and they've got a non-dom system that is on a remittance basis. And to me, the passport is as good or better than Portugal. Your taxes are better. They allow dual citizenship just like Portugal. But the thing is, you don't have to take a friggin' test. The Portuguese test at the end. And like I said, if you're going to go to Portugal and you're going to engage in that program, I don't care if it's Bitcoin or however you're doing it, don't do it unless you're going to move to the country. I've seen so many nightmares where people think after 7 years they're going to get the passport and they don't get it. But I'll tell you what knocks most people out of getting these passports is the language barrier problem. Getting that test under their belt. Ireland escapes that. Ireland's not the only one. I mean, you go to our other videos. We got tons of them on companies. But the reason I'm telling you this, we've had people interested already in seeing this article because so many people are involved with Bitcoin that look at our channel. And I'm just trying to tell you, before you start throwing a ton of money into this, these are some things that you really need to think about. If you want to know more on this, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.